Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We have seen the fundamentals of deep web and the difference between surface, deep, and the darknet in part 1. And also, I explained how securely you can enter into darknet without being traced by the internet service provider. So in this segment, I'm gonna let you know what are the ways you securely surf the darknet without being traced by any anonymous person, so-called hackers. Here are some things you should and should not try in the darknet so that there is a maximum chance of being anonymous in the darknet. Hey, this is Veer and you're watching TechSite. As previously explained in part 1, VPN is a very essential thing for any internet user. Using Tor, there are two ways that a user can use a VPN while using a dark web. 1. VPN over Tor. Secondly, Tor over VPN, which is the safest method in which the user's IP is masked by the VPN itself. These are the prerequisites for entering the dark web. After entering the dark web using the Tor web browser, there are some security tweaks that has to be done to safeguard yourself from being hacked. Tor has an inbuilt slider which lets you adjust the levels of security. Just click on the onion icon and choose the security settings to safest. This will disable all the JavaScripts by default on every website and increase a bit of security. It's obvious not to use a debit card or a credit card for purchasing on the darknet. It's better to stay away from the darknet stores available. Some of them might be legitimate, but are you really willing to take that chance? Using cryptocurrencies such as bitcoins or such other cryptocurrencies is fairly good idea, but make sure your shipping address is not as same as your current residential address. If so, this might surely create some problems. There are many YouTubers who is still being stalked after their single mistake. So your identity security is very much important in this matter. This might sound off. Minimizing or scaling your Tor web browser window can get your information leaked. You can be traced based on your active window dimensions, such that whether you're using a desktop or surfing on a mobile phone, entering into suspicious darknet websites and scaling may get your device dimensions, device activity, and more on a website in darknet. As said in part 1, using Tails or disposable OS is one of the options. Installing Tor web browser in a pen drive is a secure way as well, which means that while installing Tor, change the directory to the pen drive such that the files are easily formatted in a single click. You might say, I can do the same in the C directory and install it in a program files. These will create a temporary files in which needed to be deleted after the removal or uninstalling the Tor web browser. This can just be done by a proper disk cleaner and cleaning the temporary and the prefetch directories on Windows and the parent directory on Linux. As said in part 1, using Tails or disposable OS is one of the options. But for the VM users, the virtual machine has to be resetted every time after visiting the dark web. So the residual files of the Tor web browser is being cleared. Reinstalling the virtual machine each time is a time-consuming process. Thus, disposable OS in a pen drive is a better option, since the OS wipes itself from the drive you've installed on. So, not a good idea to keep the details on a DVD. Who uses DVDs anymore? Next, it is better to use a public Wi-Fi while using Tor, obviously over a VPN. But make sure your system is not being hacked using the local Wi-Fi itself. For example, Wi-Fi pineapple hack and casual browsing using a public Wi-Fi is always a suicide mission. Anyway, you do all these tips and somehow you lose your security. Taping your system camera will come in handy by not letting hackers have your image. So, cover the web camera while surfing the darknet. And also, having your personal data on the computer, such as your image, document, is not recommended. The saved passwords in your native browsers might be a humongous problem. This includes your social media account information, bank account information, password saves, and your web logins to some websites, which in turn have all your data. Losing it will cost you more than you expected. So, in general, surfing the darknet out of curiosity is not a good idea without the knowledge of what you are doing there. Be safe and stay away from darknet. That's all for this video. Do subscribe the channel and give a thumbs up if you like it. I hope at least one of the information is being useful for you. Being said, this is Veer signing off. Bye bye.